Welcome to the city of Xiamen in Fujian, China for the 2022 C&D Xiamen Marathon and National Marathon Championships. Weather and conditions are perfect for running this morning. 19 degrees, humidity 83%. As a World Athletics Elite Platinum label race for the second year now, this year's Xiamen Marathon also serving as the National Marathon Championships in 2022, which means the men and women athletes who finish in the top 5 will qualify for the World Athletics Championships in Budapest next year. About ready to get underway now. Elite men's and women's runners already at the start line here at the Xiamen International Conference and Exhibition Center, which of course serves as the start and finish for the race. And behind them, 5 waves of the main body, some 28,000 runners taking part today. And they are underway. The 2022 C&D Xiamen Marathon is off and running. Great to see so many runners back in Xiamen for what is a very, very special run in China. And of course, taking into account the recent situation, last year's race, around 12,000 runners took part. Still not the highest we've seen here today, of course, but the biggest since the challenges of the pandemic years. And as we look at the opening corners, the first wave of 5, I think everyone is just glad to see scenes like this once again. So the runners just leaving the convention center grounds and onto Fujian Road, almost a slip road that will take them onto the main coastal road. And as we can see from the helicopter, that will be bringing us not just the aerial views of the leaders in the men's and women's races, but also some of the great areas and attractions from the wonderful city of Xiamen. Of course, every year weaved in and around some great historical sites and conservation areas. Always a big part of the marathon to integrate with the city itself. And as expected, it only took them a minute or so, but the top runners already edging forward here to lead. Good view looking down Fujian Road. The course here at Xiamen has very wide roads with a smooth asphalt surface. It makes it perfect for a large number of runners like this. Celebrating a huge landmark this year, the 20th anniversary of the Xiamen Marathon. Trying to make more history to add to it. More than 100 professional marathon athletes registered to the race. And here they are. There's still a good 10 to 12 runners vying for the lead. Even though it's early days, everybody wants to be up front. Chen Tianyu is the current leader, and Chunlong in second. Actually, it's more like 20 in the front pack as we look back here. Yang Kegu and Yang Zhaohua right in the middle of the pack, all showing good pace. 1.25 kilometers completed, and heading slightly downhill, Wandao East Road to start. And now we're going to take a look at the elite men taking part today. Keep your eyes out for the likes of Wu Zhangdong, gold medalist of the half marathon in the Hefei International Marathon and the China National Marathon Championships. Dong Xiaolong and Liu Hong Luo also in there. There's Feng Peiyu, Guo Zhongrui, winner of the Mountain 100K Marathon, and Xu Chengfu, the future of China's marathon sports. These young athletes should grow into being China's best marathon runners in the next 10 years. Peng Jianhua, also a name to look out for. He ran an amazing 2:08:10 at the 2020 Nanjing Marathon. And for the women's event, well, Zhao Anjing is a very familiar name, double winner here in 2018 with a 2:46:11, and last year also winning in 2:35:30. Xia Yuyu, Li Jingfen, also great competitors. Zhao, the recent winner of the Beijing Marathon in 2:28:57. And there's Dong Haihua, 22 years old, also in the field today. Her best, a 2:38:45. And with the men again as they power through these opening kilometers. Runners are just still at the tip of East Wandao Road. Great shot from the heli there. You can already see a gap increasing between the front pack and the rest of the main body. Just crossing that 2.5 kilometer mark. Still this huge pack of runners hanging in there, some 25 strong. You have the benefit of a clear road ahead of them. You can see the great running surfaces here in Xiamen, very wide and very smooth. Huang Yongzheng now leading Dan Mu and Peng Jianhua. Huang with a personal best of 2:15.03, set in Qingdao last year. Xu Chengfu wearing the 119 bib, also creeping up to the lead. Let's check in with the course for this year's edition. After leaving the Convention Exhibition Center, it's west onto the coastal Huandao Road, passing some famous Xiamen landmarks, the Sifit Golden Key at 5K, and Chuan Fishing Village at 9, Xiamen University and the Shimao Towers, and then cut back inland on Liuzhang Avenue using Hubin South Road to the turnback point at 19 kilometers. And it's back on Huandao, heading east this time, sticking to the coast past Gulangyu Island, Yanwu Bridge for the second time, the Hulishan and Baishi fortresses up to 30 kilometers, Yifengshai Beach at 35, passing the convention center again as they head back for the second turnback point there, the yacht club, and it's the last 3 kilometers back and into the convention center. Once again, the weather perfect today, holding steady at 83 humidity and a cool 19 degrees and just slightly overcast. This is the Golden Key Junction at 5 kilometers, built to commemorate a national trade and investment event held in Xiamen annually, China International Fair for Investment and Trade. The sculpture symbolizing the Golden Key of international investment and economic cooperation. That's the landmark at the 5 kilometer mark for the lead runners right now. Huang Yongzheng and Xu Chengfu still leading the way, and there's more action happening at the start line 15 minutes in, so that should be another wave, 5 waves of runners starting every 7 to 8 minutes after the leaders. Staggered starts due to the mass of runners today, 28,000 in total. And as they get underway, it looks like the men have just reached the first refreshment station. We've had a change in the lead in the men's race. Mo Zhonghui now powering through. And things seem to be pulling apart a bit at the front. Approaching that water station now. And it's a clinical execution by Guo. So important to take the water in your stride and not lose any ground. And there is the famous coastal road heli shot of the leading pack. What a great running environment. Lush forests on one side and the beach and coastal scenics on their left. Good start from all, and that's great to see. Guo looking like he's approaching and appreciating a tiny bit of daylight he may have crafted out. Xu Chengfu and Peng Jianhua have dropped off a little, but not far. He Jia with them. Still a very long way to go in this race, so it's not that critical to be in the lead right now in the grand scheme of things. And after being in such a tight pack for over 20 minutes, I'm sure any bit of daylight is a welcome bonus. Xu Chengfu now switched sides and is again in second, falling back a bit. Still on the Huandao South Road. We should be approaching the Jinming Temple area. At the 20-minute mark, closing in on the 7 kilometer mark, and it looks like we're seeing a move from He Jia on the inside. Checking in with the first split times for the top 5. Still on race pace. Just over 3 minutes a kilometer for all 5. Less than a second between Hang and Gao. Checking back in with the main body of runners, and it's still all smiles all around. A lot of running clubs from the city of Xiamen and beyond registered today. Great to see these guys and girls having fun. 8 kilometer marker passed. This could be a great chance for the front 3 to push through. The pack has cut down, but it's still pretty large considering. Just as I say it, we might be seeing a charge from Peng Jianhua there in the blue shirt. Time to check in with both the leading groups now, men on the left and women on the right. And on the course, well, the women roughly 1.2 kilometers back from the men. and then just passing 9 kilometers. That should see them at the Xiamen Calligraphy Plaza, while the women just exiting the Jinming Temple on Huangdao South Road. And as you can see, both big groups, both men's and women's events right now. Staying with the ladies in front, who are surrounded by men, you can just see the trio of ladies right in the center of this pack. Li Meizhen, the current leader in the yellow top, as they close in on 8 kilometers. So just about to round the headland near the Baishi Fortress. A good 20 runners around the leading ladies, as you can see. Crowds can help, especially if the general pace of all is competitive, and this group is running at good speed behind Li Meizhen. The gradients may not be severe here in Xiamen, but they are numerous, and as the roads wind around, they also rise and fall just enough to cause that incremental build-up of fatigue on the lower joints. That's Li Jingfen, who's in third. It's good to see Jingfen back in action again. She's been recovering from a lumbar injury for the last 2 years. Big competitor at the China National Marathon Championships. Finished third there, just 23 years old. Meanwhile, the men are now about to cross the 10.5 kilometer mark, and it's still Guo Zhonghui and He Jia in the lead, and happily setting the pace for the group. That pack down to 11 now, it looks like. Yes, you can see the 2 runners that have dropped back. Might be from the climb. Men's leaders now in an uphill section, heading towards Xiamen University. Zhao Changhong in second now, He Jia in third, and Wu Jiangdong in fourth, I think. Still nothing between them. It's still running at around 3 minutes a kilometer, which is the benchmark pace for good results always. So no real problems so far for any of them. Back with the women's leading pack now at 9.5 kilometers. So this group very near the Hulishan Fortress area. Still a big running group, about 22 strong, heading slightly uphill in this section, almost at the 10 kilometer mark. Still on the coastal road for the ladies. Xia Yuyu there, still running well, winner of the recent Beijing Marathon with a stunning time of 2:28.57. But that's not all she's done. She's been a big winner on the university circuit as well. Zhao Anjing next to her. And Niu Li Hua also in the mix. Niu also from Guizhou province. Men's leaders getting some hydration and sponges just before the 12 kilometer mark. And you can see from there the undulating road surface that they're running on. Just micro changes, but that can make all the difference and really affect your pace if you don't anticipate them and work them into your flow. This is one of the highest elevations on the course, and they'll be heading downhill the next 5 odd kilometers. So far, Guo Zhonghui and Zhao Changhong still leading. Peng Zhanhua keeping pace with both of them. Just back there. They make their way onto the Yanwu Bridge. And I can tell you that Chen Tianyu, our very first leader, has dropped back a good 20 to 30 meters now and is falling away. But now it's all about that man, Guo Zhonghui, still looking unfazed and very confident here. Approaching one of the most famous landmarks in Xiamen, those are the stunning Shimao Towers, complete with sightseeing hall and a 360-degree observation deck. From the top you can see Gulangyu Island, Xiamen University Nankuto Temple, and the bridge they're running on right now. And that's where they are. Just entering that looping intersection at the Yanwu Bridge. Just see Xiamen University in the background there. They're past that, heading to the Shimao Tower complex. And it looks like finally Guo Zhonghui has found the break he needed. There's now some clear daylight between him and the chasing pack, and this is the first time that we've seen it since the start. That's the level of competition that's on show today. Could this be the breakaway that we've been waiting for? He might just be attacking that gradient harder than the chasing pack. This would be a great place to do it if he could. As we pull away from the bridge in the heli, you can just see that gradient on the bridge. Constant pressure on the legs as they approach Shimao Tower and the looping intersection Yanwu Bridge that circles the base of both towers. And then it's roughly 4 kilometers to the turn inland at Lujiang Avenue. Here they are right at the base of the Shimao Tower complex. Leading pack loosening up a bit more now. Long downhill stretch and quite steep too. Roads drop a good 5 meters in total over the stretch. That's the statue, the famous 16th century military commander Zheng Chengong on Gelongyu Island, which they're passing on their left side. And as we look at the 10-kilometer split times, look at how close it is amongst this leading pack. There's just 1 second between the top 5 still at the second split, and all on pace, 3 minutes a kilometer. Women's pack at 12.1 kilometers now, so they are on the bridge as well. As you can see, no break in this pack at all, and our leading 3 of Li Meizhen, Li Jingfen, Zhao Yuyu still with a lot of running company. And as we look at the 10-kilometer split times for the ladies, just as close as in the men's event, Li Jingfen, Niao Li Hua, and last year's winner Zhao Anjing all keeping a good maintaining pace, which is what it's all about at this stage of the run. So everything to aim for still in both the men's and the women's, as the ladies and their entourage start to feel the gradients of the Yanwu Bridge. That's Yang Jinyun and Donghai Hua and Jia Yuyu. Looks like Huang Zhoulan running with Zhao Anjing. Li Zhen still managing to stay ahead of her rivals. But as I say it, look at that. Li Jingfen has pulled up alongside and is pushing for the lead. Such a huge difference mentally between isolation and pack running for any runner on half or full marathons. And that mental state directly links to your pace too. You can tune out a lot of your mind if you sync with a pack. You could say running with a pack is beneficial. And that is Xin Han Yu in the middle there. And as long as it's the right pack for you, trying to stick with a pack that's too fast for you is worse than no pack at all. Lots of theories as to whether it helps, but most agree it does. There is Xin Han Yu, who looks to be the new leader. Mei Zhen seems to have dropped back. Once again, it's the gentle gradient that topples here in Xiamen. Back with the men, and this should be the 15-kilometer mark, which should place them just by the side of Zhongshan Road. That should be the water station at 15 kilometers. That's Ma Wenliang taking advantage of that, deep in the city center now and heading towards the turnback point that's up to 19 kilometers. And for those who thought the pack of 20 in the first 5K would break up, look at this, 15 kilometers in, and it's a bit smaller, but not by much at all. The running style just not as uniform as it was anymore. You can see the fatigue of mid-race coming into play. Lo Guoshun now leading the way, chasing his personal best of 2:13:45. This is the Yanwu Bridge from the heli. Now very busy, as you can see, but it will get busier once the other side sees runners heading back on the second part of the course. Lots of red, green and blue shirts on that bridge right now, I can see. Together, the three colors create a public welfare awareness system, and it's supported by some massive institutions: the United Nations Environment Program, the China Green Foundation, China Population Welfare Foundation, and a lot of non-profit organizations coming together. Men's leading pack now just past 16 kilometers, and it's still Lo Guoshun hanging on to his lead. Bided his time well, sat in the middle of the pack, was largely obscured by the others, and made his move about 1k back. Maybe he's got his strategy absolutely perfect. Peng Jianhua in fourth now. He's been very consistent, hasn't really pushed for the lead so much. And looking at the 15-kilometer split times now, and still less than a second between the top five. That list has been constantly changing and updating. Guo Zhonghui has been the most consistent, you would think. So men getting some support from the crowd in the city here. You can see them cheering at the sides of the course, as they do every year. Yang Kegu and the ever-consistent Peng Jianhua now spearheading the pack. Guo Zhonghui back to third, just passing the 17.5-kilometer water and food stop. This is just at the start of Hubin South Road. About 1.5k from here to the turn. These top runners will now be focusing on that loop back and thinking how best to execute it at pace. So great to have 100 of the best national running athletes in the field today. You can just see from the tightness of this pack how well matched they all are. Coming up to the turn back point. So important to get this turn right, smooth, controlled, and executed well. Amazing that it's still a pack of 11 runners, even at this late stage, but they all have shown electric pace so far. And they make the turn. Peng Jianhua keeping his established second position. Will he make a charge after this corner in the second half of the marathon? Or will he continue holding on to that second spot? Such an established athlete, even at just 26. He even represented China at the Tokyo Olympics after winning the 2021 Chinese National Championships in Suzhou at 2:11:16. Back to the leading women who have just passed the hour mark, now at 16.6 kilometers. So that would place them just on the turn in at Liujiang Avenue, about to enter Hubin. Roughly 2 kilometers to the turn back point from here. Xin Han Yu still leading, just 21 years old. No sign of slowing down or of this pack breaking up. Now, Xin Han Yu may be leading, but she's also under pressure from Zhao Yu, Zhao Anjing, also pushing for the lead. So quite a tight contest developing here in the women's event. All three showing solid running form still at 17 kilometers. There is Xin Han Yu, looking a little fatigued, but nothing critical. And there is Zhao Yu, who, as I said, was pressuring her earlier on that right side. Now she seems to be powering through. So a new leader in the women's event. Back with the leading men now. Well past the 20-kilometer mark. Still the usual suspects leading the way. Peng Jianhua has now retaken the lead. Li Jia is next to him in second now. So this would be their half marathon split time really, and that's a very respectable 1:04. Again, just showing the true quality of these front runners. And interesting that Peng Jianhua should be ahead, as he's quite well known for his running at this distance. Peng was a gold medalist at the 2021 Beijing half marathon, breaking the race record, in fact, with a 1:04.53. Nice flat section here for him. About another 2 kilometers before the next very small climb. You still get the feeling that Peng will be in the top 3 regardless. Peng, as you just saw there, very fast at full distance as well. Split times now at the 20-kilometer mark, the 4th splits, and incredibly, still just under a second for the top 5. So really, you have to look at who's been in the top 5 consistently. And again, it's Guo and Peng Jianhua. Women's leaders now heading towards the turning back point on Hubin South Road, heading towards the Zhongshan Hospital. Looks like Zhao Anjing has edged out into the lead right now. And around the turn back point they all go. Again, just making sure of their entry. They don't want any mistakes. Such a big pack. The deceleration and sudden direction change. And there is clear confirmation that Zhao Anjing is up front, with Zhao Yu nestled in behind her. Zhao looking for a 3rd win here at Xiamen and 2nd consecutive. She's also racked up a number of other notable results. She was 2nd in Shanghai in 2020, clocking a 2:33.55, which is her personal best. 27 now in Shandong province. And running today with a lot of experience under her belt, not just here, from around the region as well. Good to have a close-up view. And there's that personal best confirmation of 2:33.55. Looking strong, sporting a new look this year. Definitely very different from what we've usually seen over the years. No significant problems that we can see for them and her so far at this stage. So we're heading back towards the coast now. We turn onto Liujiang Avenue, and there is number 2 and number 3 in the women's ranking right now. Zhao Yu in the purple top. She's looking to make it a great double win after setting that stunning personal best in Beijing. And just behind her, shadowing her every move almost, is Li Jingfen in 3rd. Just an endless supply of runners back on the course today. Competitors from all walks of life and backgrounds taking part however they can. And they're giving it their all, and giving it their all with a smile. Men's pack just approaching the drink station at 23 kilometers. On On their right should be Gulangyu Island. On their left, the famous Zhongshan Road, Feng Peiyu, just ahead of Peng Jianhua. Still, no change there for now. Both still matched for pace. And here are some more. The main body of runners, fair intensity of runners everywhere now. Great sight for the marathon community as always. Now, obviously, you can't see the subtle inclines and declines of the course from above. We're back to ground level with the men once again facing another tough climb as they home in on 25 kilometers. And you can see the effect of it. A little bit more ragged in terms of their form and a very loose pack. You can also see the strain beginning to show some of their faces. Men now at 25 kilometers. A lot of interesting sights in this area, leaving the Shimao Towers behind them now, of course. And as we switch to the helicopter, you can see the towers just ahead of them, just overlooking the bay on the right, Baicheng Beach, very famous Xiamen University, world-renowned. Men's leading pack bunching together again. This is a slight plateau to the ascent to 28 kilometers. Should stay relatively flat till halfway through 27. It'll be a sharp rise all the way up to 28. That will be the one to really test these guys for sure. I'm guessing they're preparing themselves for that mentally, coming up at 27.5. Now, let's take a good look at the Xiamen University itself, overlooking the gorgeous Amoy Bay. That's actually what the university used to be nicknamed, Amoy University. This is the main campus of 4. It's also spread its academic wings around the region with remote campuses in other countries as well, and a global exchange relationship with over 300 universities. Back with the men, and we have a clear top 3. Gao Peng now leading, Feng Peiyu and Peng Jianhua in second and third. Looking at the split times for 25 kilometers, and they are a carbon copy of the other split times we've seen today. Still less than a second between the top 5. Guo Zhonghui may have dropped back, but a fascinating battle between Gao Peng and Peng Jianhua. Exactly the same splits this deep into the race. Matching each other step for step. Should be facing a steep rise over the next 1 kilometer. That is the famous Gulangyu Island. Only about 20,000 people live there, but it is a major domestic tourist destination, attracting more than 10 million visitors per year. You can see the men's leading pack approaching one of the inclines now. Once again, they move into a lateral formation. Will this latest challenge be enough to finally break down these 8 runners that have been on each other's shoulder for coming up to 1.5 hours now? Oh, we're going to have to wait and see. Good time to check in with the women's competition as well now, and as you can see on the right of your screen, with the ladies almost 4 kilometers back, which will put them near Zhongshan Road. And so Gulangyu Island is now their view for the next kilometer or so as they run on the bridge. Men's group may have seen some cutting down in the last few kilometers, but the pack still very strong around the leading ladies. And staying with the ladies, you can see them still right in the middle of this pack. Looks like Zhao Yuyu is taking the lead on the bridge. Zhao Anjing has dropped back a little. Zhao also from Guizhou province, 24 years old. So Li Jingfen and Zhao representing Guizhou. Zhao a big winner at the World and China National University Games, picking up gold medals in 5K and 10K distances. And of course topping all of that with that wonderful first place at the Beijing Marathon. Time to check in with the 20-kilometer splits for the women, and just like the men, it's very close between the top 3. Looks like this is going to be the theme for the 2022 Xiamen Marathon, and also 2 of the ladies running almost exactly the same split, 1:12:39 for both Zhao Anjing and Zhao Yuyu, while the helicopter makes its way back to the course after providing us some stunning shots of Gulangyu and the bay. So a settled top 3 in the ladies' competition as they start to pass and leave the Yanwu intersection and Shimao Towers behind them. And you know what? From this angle, it actually looks like last year's winner, Zhao Anjing, is now struggling a little to keep pace. She's right at the back of the pack now, as you can see. Really lost a lot of ground on this incline. Quick look in on the other side of the bridge, and that's a great shot of where we are at the 1.5 hour mark. You can see the leaders streaking away from Gulangyu Island and the Shimao Towers, heading east in the direction of the Xiamen Convention and Exhibition Center, while that long snake of red and blue and green runners on the other side heading towards the turn inland and the turn back point, still going strong today. Back with the women's event, and a bit of repositioning in this pack containing the leading ladies, probably readying themselves for that same incline the men faced ahead of them. Now all the way to 28 kilometers is uphill for them. Xiao Yu still leading, you saw. So a slightly slower pace needed, cutting back on the stride length, shorter stride, increased power of the arm swing, trying to stay relaxed and maintain as tall a position as possible. And eyes up, looking at the crest of the hill and not at the feet. And while the ladies start that ascent, this is Yundang Lake, originally called Yundang Harbor and named after the bamboo that has grown in the forest surrounding it. Very beautiful place to relax in Xiamen. Lots of footpaths, great night views as well. Time to see how the men's race is evolving now. And they're now almost to the 30-kilometer mark. So they're over the hill, heading down now. Sure, that's a relief for them. They're still 7 strong. 2 more mini climbs ahead for them before the final stretch at 31 kilometers just around the Jinming Temple. Then again at 34 kilometers in the beautiful Yifengzhai Beach area. Those 2 hills might be where the pack breaks up. But for now, I can see Luo Guoshun back fighting for the lead. And how about that? That is the amazing Xiamen Shanghai Healthy Trail. About 23 kilometers long in total. On the route, there are 8 mountains and 3 waters such as Jinshan, the lakeside reservoir, Wuyuan Bay. No ground vehicle traffic allowed. It's a great place to relax. Now, I did say there were 2 significant hills left for the leading men's pack. One at 31 kilometers, one at 34. And as you can see, they should be starting up the first one about now. Immediately, the relaxing of the body and shoulders, shortening of the stride, and a more flat group, using the road width as best as possible. The helicopter now over Bailuzhou Park, on the banks of Yundang Lake. Lots of lush trees and full of winding paths, plus an open-air musical plaza as well. Wonderful place to visit. And there is the statue of the egret goddess standing at the yacht marina in the south of the park. And then now it's a very welcome water station that they're passing through at 31 kilometers. Yang Kegu relishing the hydration at the front. Gao Peng also taking a big drink and falling back a little while he does. Looks like gel packs as well for some of them. But still sticking together as a running pack. Just over 10 kilometers to go. Now back on the Huangdao South Road. Just about to pass the Jinming Temple. And it's another lovely day here in Xiamen. The helicopter sweeps over some of the landmarks and back out of the city now. You see how the urbanscape of Xiamen blends into the natural wilderness around it. On green belts that circle and weave through the various parts of the city. Back to the race. So the leading pack down to 6, it seems, as they hit a downhill section that should last about 2 kilometers. Some of the runners in there definitely looking a little labored. Now we can see that it is Ma Wenliang that's dropped off the pack. Looking back at the turning point now on Hubin Road, that's the 19.5 kilometer mark. Hundreds of them now making the turn. Still lots of energy and smiles to be seen from all of them, having a great morning out today. Ready with the 30 kilometer split times now, and it continues the trend we've seen in this unique situation for this year's marathon. The leading pack has never been cut to 5, currently it's 6, and the leading 5 of them still within a second of each other. Peng Zhanhua and Luo Shun the most consistent in terms of appearances so far. Feng Peiyu still out front at this point. This is the South Putuo Temple, a great example of the history and tradition that can be found everywhere you look in Xiamen. Founded in the Tang Dynasty, which makes it 1,000 years old, covering an area of almost 260,000 square meters. Water and food station now, 32.5 for the men. Feng Peiyu still looking the strongest of the pack. And Zhanhua and Yang Kegu still sitting behind him. He's had a few turns in front now as Peiyu. His pace has very much ebbed and flowed. Sometimes we've seen him drift right back. And he almost seems to be recharging himself, because a couple of kilometers later, he manages to push forward again and set a new pace for the group. Very different style from Peng Jianhua. First to keep more of a constant pace, but both very effective. And together, you have to say, they are both looking good for a podium place here in Xiamen this year. But this group of runners definitely stretching out a bit now. And it looks like Guo Shun and Chen Tianyu now in the runners at the back. Feng Peiyu now loses a bit of track position there as he clears his nose by the looks of it. So we have a new leader, and it is Yang Kegu. So Feng will have to rebuild all that momentum and pace after that. What's more important is he's cleared whatever blockage he had. Yang Kegu there chasing a 2:13.07. That's his personal best set in Nanjing in 2020. From Sichuan province, champion at the half marathon distance in Yunnan in 2019. And second place last year at the Shuren half marathon as well. Now in the lead here at Xiamen, with just 9 kilometers left to go. Could be a podium finish for him to add to those great results he's already achieved. And that is the Hulishan Fortress, located at 10 or 28 kilometers, depending which way you were heading on Wandao South Road. Built in 1894 during the Qing dynasty to protect the island of Xiamen. Great history, old artillery in there. The pack now approaching that final climb at just past 34 kilometers. Gao looking around to see who he's facing and where they are, as the pack is cut down to a clear 5, as I think Guo Shun might be the last runner to fall away. You can see him trailing now. But again, it might be looking more like the kind of packs we're used to seeing at this stage, but we should really take a moment to appreciate the form of all the runners who've been part of this leading pack. Phenomenal achievement for such a pack to start together and still be here at the business end of the race. Checking in with the women's event now, just closing in on the 30-kilometer mark for them, and it looks like we may have a change up top. Li Jingfen has taken the lead. Good burst of pace from her. And she is powered through to the front by the looks of it. A lot of young up-and-coming runners in both the men's and women's fields today. Li is one of the youngest. There she is, 23 years old. Has already racked up a second place at the Sakura Marathon in Saga, Japan, and a third at the 2019 China National Marathon Championships. I'm sure she would just love to add a winner's medal in the 2022 Xiamen Marathon as well. And that's the time she's looking to beat today. 2:33.41, and looking good for it so far. Another sweeping shot of the coast as the helicopter heads east. So heading back to the finishing corners now in the convention and exhibition center area. Back with the men. That group is down to 4 now with the departure of Yang Kegu. But Gao Peng still in front after pacing himself in the middle for a while. Wu Jiangdong might look like the next one who could be dropping off soon. But to be honest, this was the type of scene we were all expecting to see by around the 15 or 17 kilometer mark, and we didn't. And only now it has started to whittle down to a huge final effort from these 4. Just over 6K left now. They're passing the famous 99 marathon statues. Feng may be tiring, but he still makes his way to the front as they pull together. This is the last downhill stretch. Gao Peng now falling back. Maybe he pushed it too hard in those last 5 kilometers, but he's now being outpaced, and Wu Jiangdong has taken over his 3rd place. You can tell from his shoulders there, an arm swing again. Definitely looking fatigued. Could this be the final bow out for Gao? He's led on just as many occasions as Feng Peiyu up at the front. Just coming up to the straight Grand Theatre now. You can see it there on the left of the screen. Centerpiece for the TV, arts and film industry in Xiamen. Such a great building, another beautifully designed and built structure right beside the convention and exhibition center, and absolutely huge as well. As you can see, we get a lovely shot from the helicopter. Back with the last 4 men now, and they're focused surely on that second U-turn point. And if you thought the last turn back point at Huban Road needed to be executed perfectly, then this one will be even more important. Gao Peng looking strong, looked to be in trouble earlier. He's been able to consolidate and output his energy to keep himself at the front. Feng Peiyu in second, Peng Jianhua in third, and Wu Xiangdong at the back. And that is the famous Golden Rooster statue, unveiled at the 28th Golden Rooster Film Festival back in 2019, designed by Wu Weishan, the director of the National Art Museum in China, designed and built to encourage Chinese filmmakers to work hard and push the limits of creativity in filming, and it sits right there at the front of the Straits Grand Theatre. Leaders passing that statue in theatre now, closing in on 38 kilometers, ready for the 35-kilometer splits, and for the first time in the entire race, we actually see one of the top 5 over a second back. Yang Kegu, former leader, of course, on a couple of occasions. We saw him trailing, just couldn't keep the pace, and is now some 5 seconds back. But look at the top 4, still maintaining within a second of each other. That's the last food station they're passing now. One more water station at 40. For food, that's it. The start of the flatter section of the course. The last hill, kilometer 41. They know how close they are. One final push needed here, and the glory is there for the taking. Feng Peiyu still leading. Peng Jianhua happy to sit in second. Wu Xiangdong in third, and Gao Peng fourth. Peiyu looking like he's again found his energy. He's managed to pull on his inner strength and focus every time he needs to stay ahead of Peng Jianhua. I just wonder now if we're going to see all 4 of these guys as close as this when they cross the finish line. Be an amazing finish indeed in the history of the Xiamen Marathon. Approaching the 100-meter away mark now from the second turn back point. Gao and Feng neck and neck. Can't see any of the 4 allowing themselves to lose any ground here. After this turn, with just 3 kilometers to go, you'd expect all 4 to try and pick up the pace. And they all go through. Feng Peiyu with the perfect line that sees him stay in the lead. Gao was on a wider line, couldn't change his direction so suddenly. So Feng with a decisive and smart move to lead. 3 kilometers left now, and time to use whatever energy they have for that one final push. We've seen some dramatic finishes here in Xiamen in these last 3 kilometers, and you have to ask yourself now, which of these 4 will be the one to fall off the pace? Could it be our current leader, Feng Peiyu? And incredibly, it was probably the most solid runner of the 4 in my view, who's now falling away. Peng Jianhua looks to have given up the ghost at 41 kilometers. Amazing run from him. Now Peng back in the lead, and all 3 round the turn into Fujian Road, and with just over 1 kilometer left, it's Feng Peiyu that bursts through. Gao again falling back, but maybe saving himself another charge. He's going to do it. He needs to do it soon, as Feng Peiyu, for the first time, looking like he is really loose. He's now ahead of Wu Xiangdong, right on his tail. What a finish we're seeing to this Xiamen Marathon for 2022. 3 runners into the final home straight, approaching the final corner now. And look at those numbers. Under 1 kilometer to go at 2:12. This is incredible stuff at a very competitive pace. And it's Feng Peiyu that is pulling away here. You can tell he's managed his energy really well, even with the pressure that was on him. And he's almost sprinting around that final turn. What a strong finish from Feng Peiyu. He's lasted out the pack and won this for sure. Great shift of pace for the last 2 kilometers. Moving very freely. And he takes the turn into the convention center. Not far now for Feng. Gao Peng fighting right to the death, but it's going to be Feng Peiyu. And look at the distance he's pulled in front just in these last 2 kilometers. Really turned on the jets. Sudden increase in pace. What a run from him. And he's going to be all alone at the line, I can tell you. Feng Peiyu wins the 2022 Xiamen Marathon. Gao in second, just seconds behind him. Brilliant from both of them and fought it out right till the bitter end. Feng over the moon. But still with enough energy to hug his team. Gao looking like he's just run a full marathon. What a race from both guys. Fujian Dong makes it to third. All three just a few meters apart in the end. They are the survivors of that huge pack of runners that we saw leading the way for so long. So, to the women now. That's Li Jingfen running with 3 men around her, currently at 36.8 kilometers. So she's just passed the 99 marathon runner sculptures. This the slight downhill stretch of about 1.5 kilometers that will lead to a flat section to take her up to kilometer 41. But really, when compared to the other gradients she's already been through, at 34 kilometers, 30 kilometers, between 22 and 28, this stretch is no comparison. Flat and good for settling into an efficient running rhythm. Very different situation from the men's race. No other women's competitors around her at all, and not running in isolation. She still has these 3 male runners to help her keep pace, heading east on Hundao East Road, about 1 kilometer away from the turnback point at Jiangshan Yacht Club. And all she has to do is keep going at this point. The 23-year-old from Guizhou looking very good for the win with very few signs of fatigue. It's all about 100% focus now, keeping your running form as intact as possible, even though every muscle in your body is burning. Let's check in with the main body again. Some views and smiling faces from the city center. So I'm guessing around Hubin Road or Weijiang Avenue, everyone's still enjoying themselves here in Xiamen Marathon 2022. Li Jingfen at 37.7 km now and passing through the sponge stop. Still on for a good result, but it won't be the record. The Xiamen Marathon race record, 2:10.43, held by Deng Haiying for the men, set in 2008. Race record for women, 2:22.38. And as you can see, that has elapsed. Now just passing the Jiangshan Yacht Club and the second turnback point for Li Jingfen. Again, important to get the turn right, but she'll also be happy that she's under no pressure whatsoever, so she can take it at the pace she needs to before the final push. She's seen off all the challenges over the distance. Li Mei Zhen, Xin Han Yu, Jia Yu, and of course Zhao Anjing, and she's around the turn and into the final 3 kilometers with no problems at all. No signs of strain or fatigue at all from Li. She's on course for the win. I'll also book her a place at the World Championships next year in Hungary. I'm sure she'll be happy with both. She's only recently recovered from that back injury. She won't be breaking that 2:22 national record here, as I said. Still within the ballpark of her own personal best of 2:33.41. But that would call for an all-out sprint for these last 3 kilometers, so bordering on the side of unlikely. Better just to keep at a pace, doesn't put any strain, and claim the win. From the heli, we can see exactly where she is right now. Just this stretch that will head to the right turn onto Huijian Road. And then it's roughly a kilometer or so before entering the convention and exhibition center grounds, which will be coming up on her right. She's had a great day today, and here she is at the turn. And she's through at 41 kilometers. Now well on to Huijian Road, as you can see. Just one more corner left for her, and there is our clear women's leader by a long way. You can see from the clock just then how close she was to a personal best. Now in that 2:33 zone. No sign of slowing down or letting her head down. She knows this will be a great time and much faster than the rest. Still moving well, Nothing to trouble her. And even time for a quick high five while she finishes. She's feeling great. She knows she's going to do this, oozing confidence. She makes the turn and she's into the final stretch. That lower back injury was trouble for her. You can imagine how important the lower back is for distance running. It took almost 2 years to recover. But she's in top form right now. And she's never looked like falling off the pace. In fact, she set her own pace. Now past the turn into the convention center grounds and into the finish straight. She's through that corner. Looking as strong as she has for some time now. What a performance. Absolutely unstoppable. She's outlasted the best. And right now, there is nothing to trouble her. As she makes her final dash for the line. And she's through with a 2:36.16. Great performance from Li Jingfen. And there is Zhao Anjing in second spot. She couldn't bring home back-to-back wins, sadly, but a first followed by a second in consecutive years. With, of course, her other win back in 2018 means that Zhao has cemented her reputation as one of the great women's runners in Xiamen. In a clear second, unpressured, with 3 male runners flanking her. She makes it round the turn into Fujian Road. She's run this race so many times before and knows what she has to do from here. No battle to fight, so no extra pace or strain needed. Just keep going and maintaining, still looking strong, keeping a good running position, decent tempo and cadence, head upright. And it's into the convention center grounds for Zhao. All looking good here. Well, she has to pick the right lane. She almost finished on the wrong side, but she gets into the right lane. And she's now just meters away from another great finish here in Xiamen. Such a great competitor. Quick look behind, but you will see absolutely no one there. And she's through with a 2:41.16, solid as always from Zhao Anjing. And not far behind her in third is Dong Haihua, looking sprightly at the 42-kilometer mark. All 3 of our women's finishers have really been right on point in terms of stamina this year. Zhao still recovering at the finish line. Dong too far back to threaten for second. She finishes some 30 seconds after Zhao. So with all the results in, we're about ready for the men's trophy ceremony in Podium. Wu Jiangdong in third, Gao Peng in second, just 4 seconds behind our winner today, Feng Peiyu. All cooled down and ready to receive their checks, bouquets, and of course medals from the VIPs on hand. Medals first, grey and gold medals, specially designed for the 20th anniversary. Feng Peiyu getting his winner's medal. He really proved his worth today by fending off all those other runners, battling for 41 kilometers before he knew he had won it. So the trophies next for all 3, also specially created for today's race on the 20th anniversary. I had a flowered garland this year instead of a bouquet. One for each of the runners. It's a big congratulations to all of our winners here in the men's event. And last but not least, checks and prize money for all three. So confirmation here of the times and placings for the men's race. As you can see, Gao Peng just 4 seconds behind. Hu Zhengdong also not that far behind. Was never going to trouble the top two. So just the prize ceremony for the women's event now. Dong Haihua, Zhao Anjing and Li Jingfen all cooled down themselves, changed and ready for their medals. Flowers and checks be given to them by our VIPs on hand. Sun shining now and smiles for all three. They all ran such fantastic races today. And as with the men's ceremony, it's those specially designed 20th anniversary medals first for all three. Jingfen getting her winner's medal, so it was indeed a double Guizhou win here in Xiamen today. Feng Peiyu and the men's also from that province. So the trophies next for each of the ladies. And the flower garlands, just like the men, one for each. Third place, second place. The winner.
有请颁奖嘉宾台侧留步。下面有请中国建设银行股份有限公司厦门市分行党委书记行长黄建峰上台为获奖运动员颁发奖金支票。
And finally, the prize money and check for each of them today. And there's the official confirmation of their timings and placings. Li Jingfen with a 2:36.14, some 5 minutes ahead of Zhao and Dong in second and third, just 30 seconds apart. Well done to all three ladies. Let's look back at the highlights now. That's all from us. It's goodbye from me. See you next time.